Hello, beautiful people. Just checking if this video is now started. Yes, it did. Um, yeah, there's obviously a lot going on in the world, and I think for the people who know what's going on, it's a pretty exciting time right now. But for the people who are not know exactly, well, we also don't know exactly, but we do know a little bit more because we studied certain things. I can't mention here on this video, but so it's a bit different for us to stay calm and collected and practical. Um, So the only advice for this coming period will become much more crazy than it already has, it is right now. Um, the latest developments with Trump and the National Guards and the Marines, and yeah, I think we're very close to martial law and the scary event if things are wrapping up and speeding up, and I think we are very close to that, obviously, and developments are really going real fast at the moment, like I said. And yeah, I don't have any advice. It's more like to be there for each other, to stay patient with the people who do not have the same knowledge. And I think a lot of things will be coming in as a shock to many people, and especially the Trump haters will have a very difficult time. And yes, we are moving to the big parade, the military parade. I have to check one thing. Sorry. Um, what's going on here? I'm sorry, I just have to charge the laptop. Yeah, and yeah, so it's exciting, and I know a lot of people feel tired, and which is pretty normal right now. The energies are very powerful. The Schumann, and yes, I can't really sit really good and correct because I have muscle sore from streaming around here on the land, so that's a bit difficult. Um, yeah, so I think it's key to be patient and to be kind and understanding to others, and soon, very soon, a lot of people will have many questions, and um, perhaps you know a little bit more because uh, you are able to um, to answer some of those questions, and I think that's a good thing. And of course, we don't know everything, and I have no illusions about that. I think we know just a small part that has been shown to us in different ways, and not through. Um um, the propaganda machine of the media. And um, I just saw the other day some interesting facts about journalism and how it has changed. I mean, in the early days, and I even have witnessed it. There were um, there were journalistic programs, also the news, which always told the two or more sides of one story, and it was seen from all different kinds of perspectives. And that is gone now. We only hear, if you follow those channels, the mainstream media channels, then we get only one part of the story, one narrative to follow, and that is the truth. Um, when something like that happens, when a person would tell you, listen to me because I know the truth and you can trust me and I have all of the knowledge, etc., then you know, maybe it's in my nature because of my personal story, which was a very weird one. Um, but my nature is to question everything, and that is what this the movement with the 17th letter is all about. And it's it's not that I blindly follow that, because I have been questioning everything, also what they said. And then you come to conclusions that others who also did the same thing, they have the same conclusions, and with some small differences, but here and there. But I mean, when something like that is going on, then that it's interesting enough to keep on following up, and I did. And also on Telegram. I mean, the mainstream media after 9/11, to me it was very clear then that the mainstream media is not working for us, and is a totally different thing than still many people till this day think it is. And it's actually a tool to yeah, it's called a program on television, but that's exactly what it is. It's to program your mind. And um, of course there are a lot of channels also in the alternative journalism, which are programs, but there are also many that are reliable and have proven that they sending out the right messages. And so I still follow up on that in that way. And you know, it's interesting enough to do so, and to then, if you start doing that and compare it to what mainstream media is telling you, then it's in the end, if it wasn't so harmful as it is, it would almost be funny. But like I said, almost. So yeah. And so things are speeding up, and we're I think the people who are very busy with all of this, and all of those other news channels, and investigate all different kinds of things, not coming out from the mainstream media. I think we have a very busy time ahead. So if you feel tired and you feel like resting, then suggest you do it now, because now there is still a bit of time for it, and soon that will be over. So because of the events that will follow up quite fast, and you know, we go from one event to another. And I think it's very interesting to yeah, to witness all of this, but also to anticipate in it, and stay in a kind of presence and frequency, which is good to be in. And I believe that frequency and vibration is it's a fly. Sorry, fly season is here. Yeah, I think it's very important to just keep on doing what we're doing and sharing what we know, and soon talk about it more, what we know and how we come to know it, etc. And just answering a lot of questions people obviously must have. Um, is there more? Well, on the stage of the world stage is the world is a stage, and it's a very mad theater right now. It's a show, and although know that it's a very serious thing, it's not a funny thing, it's not a fun movie. Of course there are victims, there are many victims, and I hope this will now get speed up so much that it will come to the moment where what a lot many of us have been waiting for quite a while now, and that is to well, some kind of emergency broadcast to in to get the information out we were already talking about and sharing via social media, etc. And but when it comes through in that kind of manner, it will be of a total it will be a total different thing for people. And yes, I think it's going to be really intense. Um, well, I don't have anything more to say about what's going on in the world right now, because many people are doing that. Many videos are made, and that's that's okay. And and those people are much more better with that than I am. But yeah, obviously, it's we're getting very close to the scary event at the moment. Um, I've got to read a little bit. As some people know, I've picked up my writing again, and I do it in English now. And it's nice to have another form of expression, and the English language is very different than Dutch, and a lot of things can be said in many different ways, and it has more layers, and I prefer that. And so I'm doing that, and I'm working on it. And in the mornings, because it's summer here and it's warm, it's now actually quite normal, but we also have sometimes 40 degrees, and then it's very nice to be inside and to do something else, or in the shade and do something else, but then working outside. um it's it's every time a new surprise to me how therapeutic this whole thing is, to write my story and to work on it again and to shape it and to make adjustments. And because of the translation, but also because uh, I think uh, that sometimes it has to be improved again. And so I'm doing that. And what I really like about it is that writing and talking about it um, is is a way of of helping me, and hopefully also helping others to who have been through not the same thing, of course, because it's different for everybody, but who have gone through similar things, and who have been trafficked, or that their adoption turned out to be a child trafficking case, because that happens a lot. And well, I think we are now at a point where many people come to an understanding that many of the adoptions are known as proper adoptions. Many of them also were not proper adoptions and turned out to be also illegal, and therefore um, child trafficking cases. So um, I think because of the Sound of Freedom and more coming out of children and what they've been through, and the large scale of it, that it could happen, is shocking for many people, and it's very understandable. Um, but there is a technical thing about this, because child trafficking is not just um, um, abducting children and then selling them off for other uses, like organ harvesting or sex trafficking or uh, whatever. And, adoption has been designed so cleverly and so cunning um, that it has become in most people's eyes and it has become a mm, well, a way of making something which is illegal look like it is legal, and with a huge backdoor to child trafficking, and many things have to do with it. In the Netherlands, uh, there's something called the beneficial affair and the toeslag affair, and it's a very good example of how it works, and how um, the, the the government, the state, um, robs children and then make them disappear, and without a trace, and for all kinds of purposes. And if you understand that child trafficking is the most lucrative trade in the world, and all other crimes are coming from it, let it sink in, and investigate. Keep on investigating it. Keep on exposing it, sharing what you know about it, because this topic, the children, will unite the people, and um, it will shock everybody to the core. And it has to become clear that it's it was a system, also the adoption system, which was a very important part of the child trafficking system. Um, it's I think it's what now the most important thing that has to come out in a very large manner, and maybe it is via an emergency broadcasting. I'm not sure. It could be, or if there is another way of doing it, I don't know. But what I do know is that um, that system is uh, has got to go, and the changes made for that um, are on the way. And because it was such a huge part of the of how the old world was working, it's such a huge operation to get rid of it, and it's happening um, right now, or anyways, we are seeing that it's happening right now, and we're going to see much more about it. And I think this topic, of course, is close to my heart because I was trafficked, but my entire life, uh, I was told that I was adopted. So I thought that everything went by the rules, and there wouldn't be any problems and stuff like that. But then I, of course, while looking back, now I understand more of my former Dutch family, um, their behavior, because they were part of a big network in Brazil, working from Brazil, also go across borders. But um, their behavior was sometimes very peculiar and not understandable for me. But after I find out how it worked, and that I was not adopted, but that I was trafficked, I could understand much more of how things worked. An example of that is, um, this is really weird, but when when I had a serious relationship, uh, they were always so on top of it, and in a smothering way, not in a nice, um, transparent way, or happy for me way, but in a scary way. And I felt watched, and with every step I took in that. And for partners of me, it was also a very weird experience. And I feel very, very bad about that still. I'm not ashamed anymore, because uh, that's not my part in it. I didn't do anything, so I don't have to be ashamed of it. But it's so weird when, while in a new relationship, to stay with this example, um, is they were just too close on it. And it's now I understand, because if I would marry with them, then something had to be altered in my birth certificate. And the birth certificate was needed to, you know, to get married. That's a normal thing. And but because I'm not adopted legally, um, my birth certificate is unusable. And but I didn't know that. They did. And so they did everything to to help stop a relationship of mine to become that serious, that I would take the step to get married. And yeah, so weird. And many things like that. And it was just to prolong the moment I would find out that my birth certificate is a piece of shit, and that they were part of a huge part of how went wrong, and how they were part of network that arranged fraudulent papers, the abductions and the transport, etc. It's yeah, it's so weird to look um, with whole different knowledge, looking at the same thing, and um, to 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 came from being adopted to being trafficked, were very painful years, and I'm starting to get out of it, and keep talking about it is very helpful. It's so helpful with it, and I'm so thankful that I can talk about it now, and that there is more interest for this, and more understanding, and more empathy, because of that the fact that a lot of people do their investigation and come to conclusions about how this world works. And the one big drive, it's the exploitation of mainly children, also women and men and animals, but mainly children. And although I was not, I was not sex trafficked, or my organs were not harvested, um, to come to terms with the fact that I was not adopted, but that I was trafficked, and bought for. Yeah, that was a very painful process, and writing my book and actually finishing it now is is the first step to do something completely different with it. And every huge thing starts with the first step. So finishing my book is my first step, and I feel ready for it now. For a while, for a long while, I was not ready, and I think I was not ready because I didn't feel worthy enough. And I think that's the core of a lot of issues. And not only with adopted, trafficked, or and otherwise abused people, but I think that goes for many people. And to come to make the transition from worthless fee to worthy, and seeing my own value is a totally different thing, and it gives me a lot of rest and peace and strength, and but also very determined to work further with this particular subject, child trafficking. It's so important, and it's so in every society, in every government has to do with it. And there are so many people working in it, and it's incredible. And it's not, like I said, if we want to make the transition also with the world into the new energy and into the new era and into the all new, then we have to get rid of this very fast. And I think it's a topic that will connect many more people in a very easy way. And that's a very good thing. I'm gonna end this video with with reading some of my book. I'm reading it from the laptop. So if I don't really look at you, that doesn't mean anything. It's just because I'm reading. Um, Before I start that, because it's about the birth certificate, but it's very interesting to investigate this subject for yourselves, because it's not only concerning adopted and trafficked people like me. It's the birth certificate scam is applied to everybody, but with our group it's even more interesting, because the trick of the straw man, etc. Just look it up, do your thing with investigating it. Um, it's so interesting because everybody has has gone through that, and to fit in this matrix system, which is falling apart as we speak. But with adopted and trafficked people, illegally adopted is child trafficked people. Um, it has been done twice, and well, or at least twice, in some cases even more. So yeah, if if you had been investigated it, then you already know what it means. But I mean, if everybody gets what they deserve, then there's a lot of money involved with your birth certificate, because you're a walking company. And that's why there was, it all fits in this whole system. And in this system, we were all slaves. So there were not only just black slaves or white slaves. We are all enslaved in this system via the birth certificate. Look it up, do your start your searching searching engines, because it's very interesting. And because there's so much money involved for us, and that is justice, it's more because the trick has been done more times. So, that being said, I'm going to read a little piece of my book. There we go. The birth certificate issue. I, excuse me, I have already mentioned the effort and absurd amount of extra time it took me to have my birth certificate registered in the register of the municipality of The Hague. It took 8 years to finally get a procedure done that normally takes about 3 months. The outcome of the Joustra committee has also made it a procedure at the expense of the state of the Netherlands. Ultimately, the municipality of The Hague also paid the costs, but due to the high legal costs, we did not benefit financially from this. There's a lot going on with that registration in The Hague. First of all, they never informed me that my birth certificate was not registered in their registry, and that this was not possible because the certificate was therefore incorrect. In total, I started the procedure about 6 times to request my name changed according to the procedure as indicated on the website of the municipality of The Hague. Normally, the applicant will hear from the municipality within 6 weeks. In my case, that never happened, and it was only later, when I received legal support, that I understood why not. After my many requests, nothing happened regarding the registration of my birth certificate. I did not even receive, oops, uh, an email with, for example, the simple message that this document could not, should not, be registered in the register for foreign birth registers. A lot of registers, and with a brief explanation of what I could do about it. My former Dutch family have been able to legally delay everything for a very long time, something that has not only cost a lot of time and energy, but also a lot of money. And all that to postpone the moment of discovery of my illegal adoption. This shows the influence that my former Dutch family has in the higher echelons of society through the right contacts. But what great importance is there for it to be so important to go to such lengths to keep me from knowing the full truth about my illegal adoption or child trafficking case? One of the things that is of great importance to them is status and how they come across to others. To the outside world, they appear to be good doers, philanthropists with a lot of money, although it is never entirely clear how they get this money. But that is besides the point. They must have thought sometime something like this. If I were to discover the truth, I would also discover that they themselves were part of the trafficking network and that they knew very well what they were doing for a lot of money. Money that was later laundered with the knowledge of the director of the bank with whom they were friends, and through various investments in real estate, among other things. Their reputation and their double life would therefore be damaged by my discovery, and that was, of course, not the intention. It was certainly also not the intention that I, as a house slave, had the brain capacity to understand that I had to do something with this from a legal perspective. Coming back to the whole The Hague thing, this municipality and place symbolize for me a very dark energy, criminal activities, and a very hostile, arrogant, and condescending attitude towards people like me. By the way, this whole procedure of changing my first names is necessary before I can change my Dutch surname. I would then have to have a conversation with a neutral psychologist who would then assess whether there is sufficient basis for my wish to have this changed as well. I think there's more than enough basis what, for it to change it. One of the most disturbing things is that I was able to obtain a Dutch ID card and passport, driving license based on all this falsified information from my birth certificate. And no one finds that fact strange. When I wanted to change the data, they turned things around, and one of the accusations was that I then would become guilty of embezzlement of state. Well, how criminal and absolutely absurd do you want to get it? I really think child trafficking is something that is no longer of this world. Intercountry adoption will also have to disappear as a possibility to obtain a child, like all forms of adoption. And just like every other possibility to do so that is sensitive to perverse incentives. And to be perfectly honest, all the non natural ways in which a child can be obtained are open to criminal activities and perverse incentives. I therefore sincerely believe that all these possibilities will ultimately not belong to the world of the near future. Although it was still a huge news bomb for the Netherlands that there would be a stop to intercountry adoption, for us who understand that it is in fact child trafficking, it is very obvious. And for all the changes in this world to come, this is definitely necessary. For a system that is so obvious, very welcoming to perverse incentives and any other forms of the worst crimes against humanity, is um, has to be shut down for all times to come. That means forever. My attorney at the time confirmed that the Joustra committee did not investigate anything, but that we, the people who were trafficked, conducted the investigation ourselves and provided all the information. The committee only visited two or three of the countries to be investigated. Many countries were left out of consideration, such as Haiti, where the Clinton Foundation was also very active in child hunting. This is the same foundation whose ship was stuck in the Suez Canal. Again, for the sake of clarity, the Netherlands is the hub of human trafficking worldwide, and this ship is heading to the port of Rotterdam. The Netherlands is anyway very deep in the horrors that mainly affect children in the world. The child pornography that is available in this world is mostly brought into this world via servers from the Netherlands. That percentage is now already above 80%. Rotterdam is one of many ports where containers from various companies are never checked for their contents, but are instead immediately placed on another transport upon arrival. If you have never seen the Mafia TV series Penosa, I can recommend you to do so. It shows very well how this all works. In that sense, it is also more of a documentary than just entertainment. It is only available in the Netherlands, I think. Do some more in depth research on child and human trafficking and the issues I just mentioned. Then you will find yourself in the darkest places of the world where the real pandemic is the hunt for children. And all of these dark places need light and our attention so we can come to the collective healing of all of these horrific events that were so well hidden that most of us do not know the huge scale of it. It is good and very important that many are now discovering and learning much more about how the truth is completely different from what we have all been programmed to know. Waking up from these programs is not necessarily pleasant, but it is very necessary. It is very important to me to give children a voice. They cannot arm themselves against this injustice. And so it is heartwarming that after the presentation of the film, The Sound of Freedom, and be sure to watch it, there is increasing knowledge and awareness in the world about child trafficking among people. I will elaborate further on the report within the research into intercountry adoption in the following section. I will then go through the entire report and add my own comments and questions. I would like to draw attention to this because this report once again shows how this subject is fought and discussed within politics and how that falls short of what is really going on for those it concerns, namely the trafficked children of that time who now have an adult voice that is being used more and more in all kinds of ways. um, a little bit further, and then I will really end this video. Pum, 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 pum. This is a personal note from my diary of the year 2020. Sometimes it feels very ambivalent. I have to do my own research, and that during that research, I have to immerse myself in all kinds of tough, especially legal documents, which is not my field of expertise. Now, looking back at all of this, I can honestly say that I'm very grateful for the opportunity to learn so much more about what always have been one of my fields of interests. To acquire a deeper understanding of the rule of law, a deeper understanding grows with that, and that is the lack of a true and honest, and most importantly, justice rule of law. I still find it very strange to think about dissent law. In my opinion, this is a right that everyone is born with, but apparently this is not yet the case in the current reality. Legally, the avenues of illegal adoption seem to be well sealed with apparently well functioning laws and regulations. In particular, the 1993 Hague Convention has ensured that the doors to illegality like illegaliteit, and perverse incentives leading to child trafficking remain open while appearing legal. If you want to gain more insight into the world of child trafficking, you cannot avoid the fact that you will need to acquire more legal knowledge. This because it shows how the system should work and to gain insight into what they have done to make it what it is. An inhumane system that is designed to allow child trafficking to be classified as intercountry adoption with all the inhumane consequences that entails. And partly due to more awareness of all this and more explanation about the legal side, it becomes more insightful and therefore clearer to see the magnitude of the fraud committed on paper, the magnitude of the amount of child trafficking. Since the Joustra Committee, including participating member, outgoing Minister for Legal Protection uh, Dekker, apologized on 8/2/2021, I have needed a lot of time to let this all sink in and come to some kind of acceptance that there have been no apologies towards our families of origin. Strange, because that is where the babies were robbed from in the first place with the permission of all kinds of people working for the Dutch state. The entire report of the Commission on Intercountry Adoption brings nothing new. The real research work is done by us, the traded ourselves from countries of all kinds. An interesting detail in the creation of this research committee is that it was started shortly after the, yeah, in Dutch it's called WOP request, was submitted by Patrick Noordover. WOP stands for Government Information Public Access Act. Once again, on paper, a great idea, but in reality, very different. If the applicant does get anything back after an extremely long time, then the most important data has been blacked out. And besides, the documents are incomplete in number. There are still many of these documents not released by the Dutch government. So it seems very likely that a political decision was made to start an investigation in answer to the WOP request made. This points in the direction of damage control and covering things up. I also made such a request to acquire documents with more data, and after months, one document came back. Everything was blacked out except the data and my name. There is something else going on in the Netherlands that is very, very big, the child benefit affair. This concerns unfounded suspicions of fraud regarding child care allowance. Many people now know that this was all about targeting certain parents, which is actually discrimination and under false pretenses, in order to steal their children. There's a lot to talk about state kidnappings. These parents had to pay back the full child care allowance due to deliberate mistakes made by others, tax authorities, or due to deliberate deception by child care agencies. Outgoing Prime Minister Rutte was aware of this, but did not consider it necessary to take further action. The third cabinet Rutte fell because of this scandal that should have gotten much more exposure than it did. And it is at the very least bizarre that a fourth Rutte cabinet could ever come about. Shortly after this debacle, the subject presented itself in the form of the investigative committee, illegal adoptions or child trafficking. But a few years, two at the most, before this allowance affair comes to light, and also the knowledge that the Netherlands has the highest number of out of home placements in the world, the Dutch state gets rid of by far the best youth care lawyer, Henriette Nakat. The children from the allowance affair have also disappeared and been placed out of their homes through the intervention of Youth Care Netherlands. We still do not know where these children are, and many of the parents are gag ordered by the Dutch state and their lawyers. Henriette Nakat was one of the few lawyers who dared to commit herself in a humane way to children and their parents who were confronted with youth care. Henriette Nakat decided at the time to resign from her job because she always had to work under supervision. So, in other words, always under the full control of those who support child trafficking and wanted to exist. She refused this. Um, then I come to the last part. It is the first part of the Joustra Committee report. Consideration. There is a talk of rethinking the system of intercountry adoption. In my view, every possibility of perversion must be removed from the system, and time has shown that this is apparently not possible. Just look at all the changes and adjustments laws and regulations have already undergone. The Hague Convention hinders control, and from that flows the total stop. This must never be allowed to happen again. Each country can make solutions within its own country in such a way that any possibility of child trafficking is ruled out. Consequences for those involved. When you read this part of the report, it strikes me that there is no mention of the fact that there were many do it yourselfers who, in my opinion, were simply part of the child trafficking network. But to call it do it yourself, it all becomes smaller and subordinate. And as said, it is not even mentioned in the report. A large part of this category actively and consciously participated in child trafficking, which was and is very lucrative then and now, and the consequences for the perpetrators are often absent. There are many more scenarios regarding how birth parents lost their child than those mentioned here. The report only mentions the following: they, the birth parents, were sometimes pursued to give up. No, were sometimes pressured. It's pressured to give up their child. The word sometimes here is also an understatement. The concept of adoption, as it was used in the Western world, was unknown to them, which was also done on purpose. And the report says in the worst case, their child was stolen. In the worst cases. Yeah, right. When we start looking at this topic in the Google search engine, then it is really easy to find out that, for example, Chile and Guatemala have to deal with a large amount of lost children who were, as it turns out, robbed from their roots. Everything about this choice of words proves the level of damage control. Everything is worded in a minimal way to make it seem like this all happened on a small scale. You can trust me when I say that there are many, many, many of us. So, yeah, obviously, I can talk about this for hours, and it's almost an hour, so that's really the max for a video. I thank you all for listening, watching, and understanding how important this whole issue is. And I hope that with the people who know, we can expose more and more and more and more and more, and that very soon it will be exposed on a worldwide scale. And because to come, I really truly think to come to a full transformation of uh, of the old to into the new, then this is part of it. This is the story of the children is the bridge to the new world. And so yeah, it's very important to keep on sharing about this topic, and to tell about it what you know. It's so important. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching this. You can watch the movie in pieces. You don't have to watch it all at once. You can decide that for yourself. How? Thanks for the effort to do so, and hope to see you soon. And I promise my next video will be shorter, but this just came out of it, and so yeah. But the next one will be shorter. Ciao, ciao. Until the next one. Ciao.